Hi, we're the Green Girls, Team 7190, and we are from Eagan, Minnesota, and today we will be talking about marketing and fundraising. So we're just going to go around and introduce ourselves before we get started. So I'm Rebecca Lundquist.
I'm Corinne Severite.
I'm Erica Broker.
And I'm Shelley Franklin. The topics we will be discussing today concerning marketing and fundraising include reaching out to sponsors, raising money through grants and GoFundMe, maintaining a website, keeping up to date on social media, and making a brand for your team.
The first thing your team should do is make a business plan that gives an overview of your team's history, your team's proposed budget for the season, and the benefits of being a sponsor. A business plan is a really good resource to show sponsors that you're a professional team. It also shows them how their money will be spent if they were to donate. Here is an example of part of our business plan. You can see that we have on this slide an overview of our team and our history. On this page is where you can see how we list the benefits of being a sponsor. This page shows people how their investment will not only help our team, but also benefit them as a sponsor. And it also shows the benefits that we as a team gain from being on the robotics team. And here we have what our projected budget will be for the upcoming season. We factor in materials, tools, registration fees, and other tournament costs for events that we compete at. We have this piece in our plan to show sponsors what their money will be used for.
Once you have a business plan, there are many ways to connect and reach out to sponsors. One of the easiest ways is to email sponsors you already have and sponsors who want to recruit. You can have a generic email that you send to the majority of people that just gives a general overview of who you are, what you do, and why your team needs money. You can also write and type letters to potential sponsors, letting people know who you are and what you do. To make a better connection, you can also meet up with sponsors and give them demonstrations of your robot and tell them more about your team. So just a quick idea of how to write the emails for sponsorship. You start by introducing your team. First you're going to introduce your team and yourself personally so you can get that personal connection. And then you're going to explain why you need the sponsorship. Maybe it's for a certain part that your team needs, or maybe just money in general. And then you will link them to your team's website or social media. And just make sure at the end of the email you're always thankful and you just thank them for their time and for the potential sponsorship. So this is just a quick example of an email that we've sent out to sponsors. We've put some pictures in there just so it's more personal, and then we have our contact information in it as well.
There are many different events you can do for fundraisers, such as contacting local restaurants and hosting fundraisers. Restaurants give you a certain percentage of all proceeds during the event. We did an event at Green Mill, and we made signs to bring in customers, and we also told our family and friends about the event. You can also try and set up an interview with your local TV station to get the word out about your team. We had an interview with Fox News. You can also go out into the community at different events and show the public what you and your robot do. This is also a great way to meet contacts for sponsors. Snail Mail is a great way to reach out to a large audience. You can contact local businesses in your area and go to your library to get addresses for these businesses. It's a fun team bonding experience, and even though you might get limited responses, we were able to get one reply when fundraising for a trip to China, and it paid for all of our flights. A lot of companies have grants as part of their charitable giving foundation. With major companies, there is usually an application process. These applications usually include a team history, your mission as a team, and how you use the money. The problem with applying for grants with a major company is they usually require your team or group to have a 501c3 status. A 501c3 is a special tax status that you file for with the government. If your team is looking into a 501c3, you may want to check with your school's robotics booster club. They may have a 501c3 that you can raise money for your team through. If your team is not associated with a school or company, then filing for a 501c3 may be a better option. GoFundMe is a great way to raise money. Here are some tips to help get you started. Have a thorough description that includes a small explanation of your team. Include general information what makes your team special. Write a detailed description of what you're trying to accomplish to explain where the money will be going. Continue to update your page on what your team is doing. Have updates for large milestones in the fundraising, events you're putting on, and videos of what your team is up to. We recommend about 6 different levels of donation amount rewards. For lower donations, make the rewards simple, like a thank you email or a team picture. Large donations can be more meaningful, such as a private demonstration or their name on your team shirt. Get the word out. Make sure you put it on your social media, including it in your bio, and tweeting it or posting on Facebook. Tell people you meet at events that they can follow you on your social media and connect with you on GoFundMe. There are some charges that go along with using GoFundMe. It does take 7.9% of your fundraising and 30 cents per donation.
Your website should be the promotional hub for your team. Send potential sponsors and donors to your website. Everything that they need to know to make a donation should be readily accessible. From links to your social media accounts to more about First as a program, a website can give you more connections with people out in the real world, and it's not hard to get started. There are a lot of free website design platforms that are easy to use and help you make a professional-looking website. For example, Weebly is a platform that we have decided to use. Another option is Wix. Through drag and drop design, we have made a user-friendly website that is easy to navigate. Some of the pages you should include on your website are shown on the slide. Your homepage is your first impression. It should show the most important information about your team. On our homepage, the very first thing you should see is a welcome to your site and a small donation button underneath. The button is on our home screen so that people don't have to search through the site to be able to make a donation. Secondly, we have a short update about what our team has been doing and our social media feeds underneath. This is important because people or sponsors like knowing what your team has been up to recently. On your About Us page, you should feature your history as a team and a little more about each member. Oftentimes, sponsors like to get to know the team before making a donation. The next slide is about FTC. This slide is for people wanting to know more about the program and the competitions. You can also have a link leading to the first page itself. The Contact Us page, I believe, is one of the most important pages on your entire website. From personal experience, I know it can be frustrating when there's a great team you'd like to contact, but they have no easy way to do so on their website. You could be missing opportunities for potential sponsorships or community outreach activities if people can't get a hold of you. On this page, you can create a custom contact form that is linked to your email. Social media is a huge part of promotion for your team. So here are some things to think about when you make your team's social media statement. Think about social media platforms. We personally recommend Twitter and Facebook. Use it for updating and talk about what your team has been doing. You can also use Instagram for uploading pictures of competitions or events. When it comes to update frequently, like with news. For example, talk about upcoming community outreach events and fundraising events. Milestones in fundraising and how you did at a competition are exciting things happening with your team. Posts should be spelled and grammatically correct with little texting language. They should be simple but cover all the information needed. Pictures should be clear. And last but not least, have fun with it. Make sure your team's social media stand out amongst the rest.
So branding is really important, and branding is the marketing practice where you create a name or a design that makes your team unique. So obviously, being unique is really important during the season so you can represent your FTC team and stand out to the judges. So part of your brand is your team name, logo, what you wear at competition, like your uniforms, and even the attitude that you bring to competition and how that represents your team. It's a lot easier to tell what team you're from if everyone from the team has something in common. It could be hats. We wear fuzzy green hats, like you can see on the slide during competition, or t-shirts, shoes, pants, or just anything that stands out to show what your team, like how you're connected as a team. Another important thing about branding is to stay consistent. It's a lot easier to have a recognizable team if you have something to remember your team by, like a logo. So our hats are one of our recognizable qualities for branding, and we've kept them for many years. And they're really important. Even though we find the hats a little annoying because they're really hot and sweaty, we realize that branding is important and we continue to use them. But also, yeah, branding doesn't have to be your uniform. It could be your team's attitude or outlook. So if you guys are really positive, you'll be recognizable as these like super great, nice people. That's also really cool to be part of your brand. And it's just important to be gracious at competition anyway. And that can make that part of your brand, as well as a uniform, maybe.
The Green Girls split their community outreach into 3 subsections called Green Girls Give, Grow, and Gather. We use these words to describe our outreach and give it an overall theme. This theme or goal helps us to decide which outreach activities to pursue. When you present, a theme also helps the judges to see your mission and remember your team after you leave the room. A great way to begin doing outreach is to start with small, simple events. Robot demos are a great way to show your community what you do and connect with STEM professionals in your area. By building a relationship with the professionals in your community, you can then start to ask for donations, equipment, or company tours later down the road. Green Girls Give is the subsection of our outreach where we give back to the community by teaching STEM curriculum, giving robotics demos, and mentoring other teams. We teach our local community about STEM through monthly events called STEM Clubs. During these events, we teach our custom curriculum to multiple audiences, including the Pacer Center for Children with Disabilities and our local foster group. Other great ways to give back are offering to demo at companies in exchange for company tours and mentoring other robotics teams throughout the season. If you're interested in seeing any of our Pacer curriculum or using it for events of your own, you can contact us on our website. The second subsection in our outreach is called GG Grow. This is the part of our outreach where we connect with STEM professionals in order to create a long-lasting connection and learn about the industry that they work in. A great way to connect with professionals is to ask for company tours. Most people will love to tell you about what they do, so don't be afraid to ask. Company tours are also another awesome way to make connections for fundraising later on. A final way to connect with local STEM professionals that we found super successful was a design panel. This is an event that we started 2 years ago. At a design panel, we invite professionals into our practice space once a month to critique our game strategy, robot design, programming structure, and presentation. This event creates a long-lasting connection with our community that the judges look for during the competition. If you want to start a design panel of your own, please feel free to email us, DM us on Twitter, or chat us on Facebook. The last section of our community outreach is called GG Gather. This section is all about meeting and collaborating with other robotics teams. An example of Gather would be to coordinate a large FTC demo by incorporating multiple teams and a local company. Another great way to gather is to hold a design panel expo. This is an event we started doing last year. It is the same principle as a design panel, but an expo involves more teams and more STEM professionals. We also include a group panel session where teams can ask a panel of professionals questions about competition or about their line of work. Again, if you would like to start your own design panel or design panel expo, or are interested in watching one of ours, please feel free to chat with us on any of our social medias. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to listen to our presentation. In a few seconds, we will be available over call to answer any of your questions about marketing, fundraising, or community outreach. Again, thank you so much.